Parallel hybrid. Here, both an IC engine and an electric motor propel the wheels, both work in tandem and deliver optimum power output. The batteries in the vehicle charge when the motor works as a generator.
Hi guys, today we are going to discuss about parallel hybrid electrical vehicle in continuation with the series hybrid vehicle which I have discussed earlier video, and also we have discussed about battery electrical vehicle and the powertrains available in the EVs and all those things in our previous video. Let us start with what is parallel hybrid electrical vehicle. So this is the pictorial representation of parallel hybrid electrical vehicle. The major components are engine, the motor generator set, a gearbox. Then we have the powertronic component which has the inverter and the DC to DC converter and the battery to store the electrical energy. So how does this parallel hybrid electrical vehicle works? So the engine is going to drive the electrical motor or generator set. So this motor is going to be coupled with the drive train with a gearbox, so that the motor, when it is running, the gearbox is going to give the rotary motion to these wheels, so that the wheels is going to move the vehicle. And parallelly, in some mode of operation, the generator can produce the electricity, and through the DC to DC converter, it goes to battery and store the electricity. In some mode of operation, the battery assists the operation, so the battery delivers the electrical power along with the engine, so the motor can support uh, the drive, so during the acceleration especially. And this is how the parallel hybrid system is going to function. So let us see in detail what is inside and how it is works. So there are two different mechanisms which is available: parallel hybrid with one clutch and parallel hybrid with two clutch. So let us see what is the difference and how it works. Parallel hybrid with one clutch, you can see this picture where we have the engine, fuel tank and motor generator set. We have one clutch that is between the motor and transmission, and we have the inverter or the powertronic components, inverter and DC to DC converter, and we have battery here. So when the engine is started, the fuel will be taken from the fuel tank and the engine start works, and this fuel energy is converted into mechanical energy which is coupled with motor and clutch. So the engine drives the transmission directly with the help of clutch, and which leads to the vehicle movement in one mode of operation. In some other mode of operation, what happens, the motor generator set works as a generator and it produces the electrical power, and it will be fed to the battery through DC to DC converter. So the whatever the energy is produced from the generator will be converted into DC, and that energy will be stored in battery, and parallelly it is going to run the vehicle as well through the help of clutch. In some other mode of operation, what is going to happen, the engine is going to drive as well as the battery is going to deliver the power through inverter to the motor. So motor plus engine both is going to push the vehicle. So where you need a more torque, or where you need a more requirement of power, that time both drives is going to drive the vehicle. So let us see the modes of operation with this picture. You can see here the first mode is electrical mode or electric only mode. So here the clutch is open, the engine is not connected to the motor generator set, and the transmission is connected with a purely motor. So the battery is going to deliver the power to the motor through powertronic component. So this powertronic component is going to convert the DC supply from the battery to AC supply with the required frequency and voltage levels, so that it is going to run in a required speed, and this is going to be coupled to the vehicle to transmission. So this is one mode of operation. In the second mode of operation, hybrid, so where we have electrical assistance as well. So the engine is going to drive the vehicle majorly, and certain amount of assistance will be taken from the battery side or from the electrical side as well. So now the clutch is closed So that means the engine is coupled with motor and transmission. So the engine power goes to the transmission in the same common shaft, so where the motor also connected. And now the battery delivers the power as well through the power electronic component. So the motor is also going to take the power from the battery. So both a power from the battery as well as the engine aids each other, so that the transmission gets more power and the vehicle moves faster or takes the more load. And this is the second mode of operation. And in the third mode of operation, what happens actually when you have a light load, already the vehicle is moving in a certain speed and there is no much load, or you may come from the upstream to down. That time what happens actually, here the engine drives the motor and it drives the transmission, and also certain amount of power is being sent to the battery through the power electronic component. So now the engine gives the power for two things, that is, one is to drive the vehicle and another one is certain amount of energy is stored in the battery. So this is battery charging mode. And in the next mode, where you are going to apply the brake or when you are going to decelerate the vehicle, that time what happens, the clutch is getting opened. So when the clutch is open, so the engine is disconnected from the drivetrain, and the power whatever we are getting from these wheels because of the kinetic energy, so that is given to this motor generator set. Now the motor is going to act as a pure generator and it is going to produce the power, and that will be going to the power electronic component. Now it is going to act as a AC to DC converter, and this DC supply will be fed to the battery and the battery will store this energy. So this is the fourth mode of operation, that is a regenerative braking. So this is the mode of operation for one clutch parallel hybrid electrical vehicles. So the next layout is a parallel hybrid layout with two clutches. So you can see the major components here. We have IC engine, and the difference is now we have two clutch, one clutch before the motor, one clutch after the motor, and the remaining items are going to be same. We have inverter, we have battery, and we have transmission system which is connected to the driving wheels. So this is a parallel hybrid layout with a two clutch mechanism. Let us see how it works. The same thing I have given here in the other picture. So the engine is going to take the fuel from the fuel tank, and the engine is going to convert this fuel energy into mechanical rotary motion. So this rotary motion is connected to the motor and transmission through two clutches, one clutch here and another clutch is here, and depends upon the requirement whether the clutch, both clutch will be connected or one clutch will be connected. That is upon the requirement. In case if you are going to operate through engine and there is no assistance from the electrical motor, so both clutches will be connected so that it can actually give the power for driving the vehicle. In case if you are going to regenerative mode, that time the first clutch will be disconnected, so the power which is coming from the vehicle kinetic energy will be fed through the motor generator set and inverter, and it will go to the battery. So based upon the requirement, the clutches, the clutch which we have here will be whether it is connected both or it may be only one. So let us see that in the mode of operations. First mode, actually the motor drive mode, where now the vehicle is working as a pure electric vehicle, where you have the battery back. You are going to give the supply to power electronic device like a DC to AC converter, and this DC to AC converter is going to feed this PM SM motor with the variable frequency, so that this motor can run in different speeds, and we are going to connect this to the axle of the vehicle through a second clutch, and the first clutch is going to be in off condition because the engine is not going to do any work in this mode of operation. So this is called a motor drive mode. So usually when driving in urban districts. Okay, now the second mode of operation, where you are going to drive the vehicle using IC engine driven. So now you can see the engine is driving the vehicle and the power is transmitted from the engine to the axle or the wheel through two clutch mechanism. And also here what is going to happen, the motor generator set is going to work as a generator, and it generates certain amount of power and will be fed to the battery through AC to DC converter, so which is going to store the energy here, and certain amount of power will be transmitted to the driving wheel. So this is the engine driving mode. And the next mode is engine plus power assistance drive. So where the engine power is not enough to get the required load, so that time what is going to happen, so the power will be taken from the battery as well through the powertronic component. So now this powertronic component is going to work as an inverter, so which will take the DC supply from the battery and which will be converted into AC and will be fed to this variable frequency drive motor, and this engine also is going to deliver the power. Now both power is getting added up and which will meet the requirement of the load. So this is engine plus power assistance during especially during acceleration, this kind of operation takes place. And the fourth mode is about regeneration, or when this happens while during deceleration. So now again the clutch, first clutch is off. During this time the kinetic energy of the vehicle will be fed to the motor, and the motor now works as a generator which produces the AC output, and the AC output will be converted into DC using AC to DC converter, and then from there it goes to the battery. So this is the fourth mode of operation with a double clutch. So now you can see in two modes, that is engine drive mode and engine plus power assistance drive mode, both clutches are in on condition. And when you have a motor drive mode and regeneration mode, only one clutch is on, another clutch is in off condition. So here the advantage of this particular mode or this particular layout is that the engine is disconnected during this both operations, so that the friction due to the engine will be avoided. So you will have more efficiency compared to the other mechanism. So this is the different type of double clutch transmission. So the first one we have already discussed now here already in the previous slide. So the fuel tank will be feeding the fuel to the IC engine, and we have double clutch here. In the double clutch, based on the requirement, the clutches will be closed so that the electric motor or generator set produces the power accordingly, required power, and the IC engine power will be added up with this if it is required, and it goes to the transmission. In case if you are putting the brake or something like that, so the power will be fed from the wheels to the motor, which will act as a generator, and the output will be fed to the powertronic component, and it will be stored in the high voltage battery. So this is one type of clutch mechanism. The another type of clutch mechanism also available, where you have high voltage battery and powertronic, and we have electric motor here, and the clutches here you can see both clutches are available here. So in this mechanism, what happens actually, when the fuel is fed to the IC engine and the IC engine is producing the mechanical power, when you have the first clutch in on condition, say when this clutch is in on condition, only this first clutch is in on condition, the IC engine power will be directly fed to the transmission, and it goes to the differential part, and the vehicle will start moving. In case if you want to store the energy to the battery, so you are going to turn on both clutch. So now what is going to happen, so certain amount of power will be fed to the transmission, and certain amount of power will be transferred to the electric motor. Now it will work as a generator, and it will generate the power, and it will go to the powertronic component, and it will store in the high voltage battery. During the deceleration time, and the kinetic energy of the vehicle will be given to the transmission, and it will be connected to the gear, and from the gear it will go to the electric motor generator set, and it will produce the power, and it will go to the high voltage battery. So in this time period, both the clutches will be in off condition or will be in open condition. So the engine will be totally disconnected from this system, and only the energy from the wheels will be fed to this high voltage battery. So based upon the requirement, so these clutches getting on and off. So auto clutch mechanism will be available. So this is another type of clutch mechanism available in parallel hybrid powertrain. Okay, in summary, actually, in a parallel hybrid powertrain, both the internal combustion engine and electric motor can transmit torque to the driving wheel in a sequence or in a same time. So, in a series hybrid powertrain, you might have seen that actually the engine produces the power, then it goes to the motor generator set, and from there it goes to, from the generator set it goes to the battery, from the battery it goes to inverter, and then from the inverter again it goes to another motor, and the motor drives the vehicle. So that is a series hybrid electric vehicle. But here we are going to have the freedom that both, either the engine or the motor, both together can drive the driving wheels. So this is the advantage of this parallel hybrid type of vehicles. For a rear wheel drive vehicles, a common hybrid powertrain architecture is using an electric machine with the two clutches, so which we have discussed in the earlier slide. The first clutch between the engine and electric motor allows the engine to be disconnected from the drivetrain and drive in pure electric vehicle mode. So this we have discussed in the previous slides actually. So this clutch, if it is removed or if it is opened, so that means the high voltage battery will feed the power electronics and it will come to the electric motor generator set, and it will connect to the transmission. So now it will work as a pure electric vehicle. So this is the purpose of this first clutch. So that is the meaning of that sentence. And also during deceleration phase, by disconnecting the engine, we can remove the braking effect and have higher efficiency for kinetic energy recuperation. So this is what I told you. So the friction because of the engine will be removed when you are removing the engine during the deceleration time, so that the regenerative process will be more efficient. The second clutch allows the electric machine to be disconnected from the drivetrain and let the vehicle coast during a deceleration. So these are the points in summary. Thank you. I hope you have understood the concepts. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment box. And if you like the content, put a like, share, and comment it so that other peoples also will get benefit out of this type of technical videos. Thank you.